Hey guys, today we have a couple more reveals from Game Informer, and we'll start with the Sleeper Simulant. I mentioned this gun in the info-splosion, but Game Informer went a little more in-depth with the development of this specific weapon, and also gave us a clip of the weapon in action. The name of the article was Life of a Destiny Exotic, designing G-Horn's new competition, and while I don't think you should take that title literally, we'll delve into the damage in a minute. Now, unfortunately, I am not allowed to show any of the live footage, so what you're going to be seeing is a series of very slow screenshots, hence the re-upload, and I apologize about that ahead of time. If you would like to see the video to either the Sleeper Simulant or what I'm going to cover later in the video, head over to the links in the description. The Sleeper Simulant is a fusion rifle that goes into your heavy slot, which is already a little weird. Its shots can over-penetrate targets and can ricochet up to 5 times off of walls and such. You won't be getting this gun randomly like other exotics though, which is a welcome change. You'll have to gather various items to bring back to the gunsmith, who will then invite you to help repair and rebuild the weapon by doing things, whatever those things are, quote, which might even include puzzles that are too hard for any one player to figure out on their own. That might not apply to the Sleeper, but it might apply in general to exotic quests. Bungie wanted to develop a weapon with the theme of cutting-edge technology, but have it look like a prototype, a test phase weapon using references from NASA. When it comes to designing an exotic, there's a lot of things to consider. You typically want a very unique experience for the weapon, both in gameplay and even emotionally. For the gameplay, Bungie wanted that experience to be shoot a laser that bounces around and kills a bunch of stuff. However, design and what is actually going to work in-game is vastly different. At the end of the day, it needs to look good from a first-person perspective, so there's a lot of visual tuning that happens. Then there's the gameplay tuning. For example, Bungie wanted people to use it really utilizing the ricochet of the rounds, but players wanted to use it more like a precision weapon. Charge time was another factor. They wanted it to be a real heavy hitter with a really slow charge time, but players did not like the very slow charge time. Let's look at the clip. We can see that it fires one big laser beam which can crit. We see a crit here for 16,000 damage, with non-crits doing around 8 to 9,000. It comes with 3 shots per magazine and not a ton of overall ammo. I don't know which would apply to the weapon, more heavy ammo or more fusion rifle ammo, or maybe both. We were also given the upgrade perks, so let's take a look at those. Its main bonus is that each shot will ricochet once, with the final bonus giving you 5 ricochets per shot. The barrel upgrades are CQB ballistics, linear compensator, and accurized ballistics. Linear compensator and accurized ballistics are both looking to be a viable option, although I'd need to see the exact stat increases you get to come to an actual conclusion. The first bonus is called Just a Scratch, where the weapon reduces aim deflection on incoming rounds while you're aiming the weapon, which sounds awfully like unflinching, which is apparently useless, so hopefully this will be a little bit better. Stat upgrades, we have speed reload, perfect balance, and single point sling. I suspect you'll be using speed reload, as perfect balance doesn't seem hugely needed, as you'll be making sure to line up your shots to make each of them really count. The final perk, like I said earlier, increases the ricochet and bounces to 5 total. As for the damage comparisons to G-Horn, they're kind of tough to make right now. If we take them at face value, the Sleeper Simulant does 8 to 9,000 damage per shot, while the G-Horn does 2,500 damage per shot plus Wolfpack rounds, and that damage test was done on things much lower level than I to reciprocate the fact that the player in the video was also much higher level than the things they were fighting. However, it's dumb to compare them at face value because I'm sure the scaling is much different, and I would assume damage numbers in the Taken King are increased. Overall, this weapon seems alright. But once again, Bungie is putting a lot into ricochet rounds, which historically have been shown to suck really badly. Maybe this weapon will be different somehow, maybe it has some slight homing to each beam. The weapon looks great and sounds great, and I'm sure the journey to get it will be more enjoyable than just randomly getting it, but at the moment, I remain skeptical about the main appeal of the weapon, which are the ricochet rounds. Next up, we have a 10-minute video, also from Game Informer, that basically says, we are going to story the shit out of you. We learned a couple of things, saw a couple of new clips. Probably the thing that drove the most hype was this ARC auto rifle. Most notably was the fact that you seem to gain the Angel of Light bonus that Sunsingers have via the buff Overcranked, seen on the left side where you aimed in with the weapon. There was also a chain lightning effect on one of the shots fired from the gun. It seemed like one of the first shots that connected with the target did the chain lightning effect. We don't know if it's some sort of internal cooldown on the chain, or if it's randomly procced, or what. Last time I checked, there was not an Angel of Light style talent on the Sunbreaker, so this could just be on the weapon itself, or maybe something changed in the Sunbreaker subclass. We learned a little bit more about how characters like Cayde 6 and Eris are going to have more interaction with the story, with us as the player, and with each other. They have this huge batch of characters that are incredibly underutilized with great voice actors, and it sounds like they're finally going to be putting them into the game a little bit more. Also, Eris is inside now, she's not outside by her ship. She's got a slightly updated stock of items, it looks like, and it seems like level 4 may no longer be the reputation cap. It's pretty tough to see from this clip, but we can do some crazy Photoshop stuff and see that for some reason there's both Eris and Crota's Bane rep, which is the same thing, but this bottom row, it's plausible to say that there's a 5 or a 6 there. The story with regards to Peter Dinklage being replaced by Nolan North is not really anything malicious. Peter Dinklage just did not have the availability that Bungie needed, and someone like Nolan North does voice acting for a living, it's kind of his thing, so he's just more available should Bungie need him around to record anything. Speaking of the Ghost, we knew this already, but you can now use your Ghost to highlight and scan optional environmental things to learn more about them. It's not Grimoire in-game or anything, but hey, it's a start for those who want to learn more about the lore. If you don't care, then you don't have to scan anything if you don't want to. You also might have seen this clip if you watched the video with a Guardian using Fatebringer in the Taken King. I'm going to ask you to hold back that potential excitement because 1, the player is level 34, and if you're level 34 right now, you'll be level 34 when the Taken King launches, and 2, the enemies this person is fighting are level 25, which is speculated to be the entry level to the Taken King. Do not take this as Fatebringer being around for the entirety of the Taken King. This seems very much like the first mission where you'll be using it because it's just what you have now. Also, it only has 10 shots, seeing that nerf in action. Anyway, the full video is in the description if you want to go check it out. It was a pretty fun watch, but it didn't really have any sort of juicy gameplay details or anything like that. It just kind of outlined what they wanted to start doing with the story and gives a little more insight into that process. That'll do it for me, guys. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
And that's like you could get into some real gangster shit.